Right.
I mean, it works
anyway.
anyway.
Instructed and things like this, you know. Well, Miss Marjorie Daw, in our original plan, wasn't a librarian. Well, she was kind of a librarian. She'd originally been a priestess. But I wanted to get someone from around the world into DiscWorld because one could talk about causality. One could say, just a minute, I want to cross the road. Hang on, there has to be a story in which you're the other side of the road. You see this? If narrativium is working everything, then you've got to invent a story in your mind for being on the other side of the road, and you get there. And it was an idea because we wanted one of the essays to be on causality. All right? And we wanted to address the big questions in this one. We thought it would probably be the last one. And, well, God, we're getting older. And Ian is now retired. He comes in every day, of course, in exactly the same way as you always do. He has a slightly smaller room in Warwick, but I really don't think there's been a hitch in his life with retirement.
My wife always laughs when I say I've retired. She found one of these cards that you put on the wall of your kitchen, which has something humorous on it, and there was a card in a shop which said, "Retirement, twice the husband, half the salary." and she looked at this and laughed and said, "Well, half of it's right."
Yes. Anyway, I'm getting older. My life has changed. I'm now living with Persephone Arbour down in the bottom end of Dorset, not living in the middle of us anymore. So it was a 5.5-hour journey that she did heroically on Bank Holiday Friday. It was awful. And things have changed for me too. But it wouldn't totally surprise me for another one. However, this one, anticipating it was the last one, we wanted to deal with the big questions. Questions like origins, questions like causality, questions, well, the big questions. And we wanted the essays to be, I don't want to say important, but I wanted them to stir you lot. You know what I mean?
It's all big picture stuff.
So that you could say, after reading these essays, oh, that's really interesting, I've changed my mind about X or Y or Z. And that was our trick. Now, we put in the scenario. What we do with these things is give Terry a succession of scenarios. And he says, no, 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 no. And they take us about 3 months each to produce. And we didn't begin to do this till quite late on, because after number 3, he said there aren't going to be any more. And after number 2, he said there aren't going to be any more. And after number 1, he said, well, if there was going to be another one, what's going to be in it? And we said Pan Narrans. He said, that's really interesting. Now give us some scenarios. And it took about 12 scenarios before we got Son of DiscWorld 2, which is, I think, the best one so far. Certainly from the point of view of the story, it's the best one so far. I don't know about the essays, I can't judge them. We wrote the bloody things. The idea of having Marjorie Daw came completely from Terry. I'd had someone, as I say, an ancient princess, a woman in Roundworld who was sure she was a DiscWorld princess, and was finding all the ways of getting back into DiscWorld, was my idea. But in fact, of course, the wonderful idea that Terry had was when the big theme that Pondus Dibutans produces, which is the equivalent of the Hadron Collider. When he turns it on, it messes up the magic between the two worlds, which is absolutely wonderful. And that, of course, completely makes it sensible that she comes into DiscWorld, and she sits there and comments in a round world manner, in a roady round world manner, on the events that are going on in the courtroom with Veterinary looking after it. And it's a lovely story. Rincewind is sent into Round World to check what's going on.
Yes, and in fact he takes, the dean is sent with him. Now the dean of Unseen University has left and become Arch-Chancellor of Pseudopolis University.
But you will remember that the dean is the person who started Round World.
He poked his finger into it. It was a magical containment field with nothing inside, and the dean said, "Oh, I wonder what happens here." And I think Ponder Stibbons says something like, "I wouldn't do that if I were you, Dean. Why don't you take your finger out very gently?" And it starts it all up. So it really was started by an old guy with a beard.
And we were going to put in, it was quite a small bang from the outside. But it didn't...
the stuff that fell on the cutting room floor was... We could do a book with all the scenarios for these things that never happened.
Yes.
Like the one... Science of DiscWorld 3 at one point was going to be, or at least we thought it was going to be, that simultaneously the DiscWorld analogue of Mars invades DiscWorld. Yeah. So this is a square world on the back of a thoat rather than a turtle. And while this is going on, the H.G. Wells Martian invasion of Round World is going on inside Round World, and then we thought then we can mix the whole thing up. Several problems with that. One is it's about 3 novels long, not one short story. And the other one, we said to Terry, "But you can have lots of fun parodying Barsoom." And he said, "What the hell do you think I've been doing?"
So you will imagine that we've had a lot of fun with Terry in doing this. And indeed, until this time, we have. But this time, Ian made the most beautiful scenario and gave it to Terry, who said yes about a year ago.
Yeah.
And we were waiting for Terry's version. It arrived about 6 weeks ago. Because Terry has been desperately busy. Look at the thing in the...
Look at your bag.
Yeah, Cohen.
You have to scribble out you have to insert on the bag in felt tip pen Science of DiscWorld 4 in the middle of all that. It's extraordinary. He phoned me up and said, this Science of DiscWorld 4 thing we were talking about. He says, I'm really, really busy at the moment. I'm doing about 17 different things all at once. So I think it's a really good time to get started on it.
And he did, and he got it done in amazingly short time, and it's bloody brilliant. And one of the things we thought, we'll see what the time is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we could.
We could, couldn't we? Do you want us to read you a bit of the